I love Old Trafford, but I feel like it's been neglected for too long.
The structure dates back to 1910, so it's over 100 years old.
Over that period of time, it's had a lot of upgrades, a lot of new stands, but it's not really been touched since 2005.
The stadium's old, run down.
We've all seen the footage of the leaking roof.
It doesn't feel like it's fit for purpose.
It's hard. You don't want to say get rid of it, but you think it'll be better if we do have something new.
Anyone who's been to Old Trafford knows something needs to be done.
The stadium just feels very outdated when you compare it to Tottenham, to Man City. So many stadiums are better than Old Trafford now.
When you go to other grounds and other modern stadia across the world really, then you can see how far behind Old Trafford has fallen.
I've been fortunate to go to the US a few times with United in the summer tours, and every stadium you go to is amazing. They are incredible stadiums.
In the summer, they played a game at the SoFi Stadium, which is an amazing arena in Los Angeles. It just blew your mind in terms of what you can do with a new stadium.
I'm Brian Truby, and I was design principal on SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. The fan experience is really everything when designing a stadium. Teams like Man U that have a 100+ year history, they have an opportunity to create a place that fans can come to every day and feel like they are steeped in the experience and the history of the team. You know, people travel from all over the world to visit Old Trafford, even on non-game days. I think the opportunity is almost unlimited.
It's a massive chance to do something seismic in this location, not just with the stadium, which is extremely important, but with the surrounding area. So they absolutely have to be as ambitious as possible, and they have to deliver something that is befitting the size of the club. In terms of features that you might expect to see, you know, the SoFi Stadium has what they're calling an infinity screen, which is basically a massive plasma screen that hangs over the pitch. That might be something they consider. Spurs Stadium, the grandstand there, which is extremely steep, it's been designed specifically to enhance the acoustics within the stadium and make it, you know, really atmospheric on match days. That'll be something that they consider. Things like technology, but small things that make the match day experience seamless, you know, so perhaps something that will prevent you having to queue so long for your burger at half time, or that makes getting into the ground easier. And even outside the ground as well, you know, transport getting to the stadium, that has to be made a bit easier as well, I think.
We're moving far beyond the days of just turning up at a game, paying your money, watching the game, going home. They want you around the stadium now for much longer, so you'll spend more money basically, because it's not just going to the football, it's consumer experience.
What Manchester United need to do, and I'm sure they will do, is have that fan experience at the forefront of their minds. They may want to do additional things. They may want to host other sports, they may want to host concerts, which they don't really do currently. But I think first and foremost, they have to give priority to the football supporters. You know, this is the place they've called home for generations. To put them in the backseat and not think about them as the most important people when it comes to creating the stadium would be a mistake, I think.
You've got to listen to the people who are going week in and week out. If you don't and you think you know better, then yeah, it's going to become heartless, soulless. Fans know what works and what doesn't. We're the people who add that atmosphere, add that heartbeat. So listen to them now and keep adapting and keep growing to what they want.
One of the things that makes fan experience unique is the way each individual team's fans are used to collecting as a community, where they sit in the stadium, how they conduct themselves when they're in the stadium around their team. All those things to us are super important to understand really before we actually design a stadium, because we want a new stadium to enhance all the things that are the essential kind of identity elements in the way the fans approach that team.
If there is to be a new stadium, it's so important to retain some of that history, whether it be the Munich clock or the statues outside the ground, and even small things like having the tunnel come out in the same position it does currently in the corner. You know, that's quite distinctive to Old Trafford. So in order to make sure that you get the buy-in from the fans, you absolutely need to have a think about that heritage, and I'm sure the club is already thinking about that.
I think the scale of the structure itself is of great importance because it does have visual impact and it can be very intimidating, but it can also be the thing that represents the community if it's done in an iconic and beautiful form. It can be the thing that actually represents the community globally.
This has got to look striking architecturally. It can't be a soulless bowl that some fans fear. Big is important to Manchester United in terms of increasing those matchday revenues, and they're talking about something in the region of 100,000 capacity.
United have always boasted of the biggest club in the world. Now, at times they have been, maybe they're not now. Just at the moment the team's failing, and that's the reason why the issues have all mounted up. The team's failing, the stadium's not what it should be. and they've got a lot of issues to address at the same time, which is difficult, but the stadium, if they get that right, could be the driving force for everything else.
The idea behind the regeneration of the stadium itself is for it to be a stadium-led regeneration of the wider area. So Trafford Council have in place a master plan for the area around the stadium. The area within the master plan is quite a lot of low-rise, poor-quality industrial stock, which they'll want to clear and redevelop. Nearby, we've got Media City just over the Manchester Ship Canal. Historically, that's something that Manchester has not been very good at, is using the various bodies of water it has to its advantage. So they want to see the waterfront activated.
Old Trafford is one of the most iconic assets in Manchester and in the UK. The canal system that is only a few hundred yards away is also one of the key assets that make Manchester very unique. The combination of those two things is where a lot of the value can be created. I think the several hundred yards between the canal and Old Trafford could end up being some of the most valuable property in any large city in the world over time. Making that a real focus of the new stadium itself is really where the big opportunity is on this project.
It has to be ambitious, but it has to be deliverable. If you look at Spurs Stadium, which completed in 2019, that cost over £1 billion. And since then, the world has moved on significantly in terms of construction prices. So anything here is going to be way, way above that price and probably closer to the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, which is the most expensive sports stadium ever built.
It's absolutely crucial that United try to be the best. Real Madrid, I imagine, are the benchmark right now because their stadium at the Bernabeu has been renovated in the last 2 or 3 years and it's amazing.
We need to blow them out of the water. We need to blow out the water. Real Madrid Stadium, blow out the water. Barca Stadium, that's the levels. Not Spurs and Arsenal, yeah, that's not our level.
If we can have a stadium that is the best, then let's do it. And it feels like Ineos are serious about doing that, so let's make it happen.